Here is WB2MLY. Are you around yet, Lobie? Well, I hear you in there, but I'm not, you're not strong enough yet to really read, so have to wait a few minutes, I guess. WA2AXE, WA2AXE. There is WB2MLY.
That was one hell of a great echo there, AXE.
Okay, Lobie, very good. Well, I had both radios, the Radio 1 and the SDR on, so that's what happened there. And I can hear you on this, now I can hear you on this Tustin site right now at the moment. So, and I guess you're hearing me. So I have to turn it off when you start, turn it on when you start transmitting. Yeah, we had rain here all day. Not all day, but all afternoon, starting in the early afternoon. We had thunder and lightning. Yeah, it was a pretty bad weather day here. Back to you, WA2AXE, WB2MLY.
All right, well, we had a cloudy morning, no rain. The rain gave up yesterday, and now we are just into the sunshine. It actually got up to 71 degrees here, and right now we're back at 39. So, the high was 71, the low was 39, and we're not going to see 70s for many moons, Ed.
Okay, Lobie, I just had trouble muting it and hearing you very, very well though on this site. And I think as time goes on, I'll probably hear you on the Port Huron site. Yeah, we no outdoor activities today here. It was total indoors and just watching the weather and seeing what was happening with the weather, and so did a lot of here's something coming up on my screen here that I don't want, and so now it's gone. So I guess I'm painting a nice little strip there on this SDR. Sounded pretty good, and so are you. WA2AXE, WB2MLY.
Here's the WA2AXE, and I've got somebody turning up in the background, and every once in a while he comes in and covers you and comes back up again. I thought my antenna was becoming intermittent, but I'm looking at dead solid SWR. Matter of fact, the rain went away, the antenna dried out, and I'm feeding directly into the antenna with perfect SWR. So, again, as I told everybody about my spring practice, that's coming down the road. WA2AXE. Oh, I gotta start yawning here. It's been long days, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Go ahead.
Okay, Lobie, very good. Well, that's good. When you have SWR perfect SWR without any tuner or anything. That's something to be proud of. Well, yeah, my grandson, he had a baseball game this afternoon, but it got canceled. And yeah, it's the first time I've heard thunder since last fall, I guess. And we did have some lightning going around. I disconnected my station partially, but well, actually mostly, and so I didn't want any untoward events there. And so we didn't do. We did have a couple contacts in the morning, I think, on FT8 on 10 meters, but nothing. Well, I had Namibia. I was in this call register, and but I didn't make a contact with it, and also Angola, and that guy's in there almost every day. So I've made a few contacts with him. D2UY, that's the call there, and I think he's some kind of a Russian operator. So, yeah, just pretty not too exciting around here today. No bike ride, no nothing. Too much wet water out there. When you got an electric bike, you don't want to have rain. A little sprinkles, okay, but not the kind of rain we had later on today. We had some pretty hard rain. Sump pump was running fiercely. WA2AXZ, WB2MLY.
And this is 1721 with WA2AXZ. One thing I've noticed over here that the wind is we've got a big wind over here. And I started draining the fuel cover and then we stopped. There's a couple inches whipping in the wind, so I think it's the rest of the water to keep everything down. And we'll see what happens during the next couple of storms. And the county, apparently they're maybe, we're waiting for more rain, but they're on flood watch until April 9th. So between all the rain and all the snow melt in the tips of the mountains and the hills, must get ready for some good water for Korea. I went past the ski area, and yeah, that's all starting to melt away. They have this little lake at the bottom of the hill, and that's what they use to take their own snow, and that thing is filled to the top. So and they put it on the hill, it flows down. They put it back on the hill, and it flows down again. WA2AXZ.
Okay, Lobie, very good. Well, yeah, they, I guess they must make a little bit of money doing that, but, you know, when the weather changes so much, it's difficult to keep, well, especially here in the East, it's difficult to cope with both the weather and the variableness of the weather, the rain. I'm sure that Whiteface suffered greatly from this day. They seemed to go along pretty well, and then all of a sudden, one bad day. They had one a couple of weeks ago, and then this, you know, it was very, very, very warm, almost 70 degrees, and windy, very windy. And the wind takes the snow away. You'd be surprised. It's amazing how much snow you lose when you have wind. And here, I guess we've got wind from the south right now at about 16 miles per hour. And, of course, we have no snow on the ground now. And so we'll just have to wait for a little bit warmer temperatures. We could do more outside. It's going to be a while, though, before we cut the grass. WA2AXE, WB2MLY. Okay, well, that'll be very good. I think you turned it over to me. Did another check-in come in there, Lobie? Go ahead.
Negative. Nobody came in.
Well, I would think that Bill PSK or PKS would have a difficult time tonight with the way the weather is on the East Coast here. It's just storms almighty going on here, and I'm starting to lose you a little bit on this Tustin site. But that will mean that I will be able to hear you on the Port Huron site probably in a few minutes. It's almost 8:30 now, and so anyway. Anyway, we'll toss it back to you there. WB2MLY. Go ahead, Lobie.
Well, I'm looking at the lightning map, and even though there's a line of rain from Maine all the way down to North Carolina, from North Carolina on the south to Arkansas, Dallas, that's where the wicked thunderstorms are, all the way south. So anybody in the Northeast, they're just going to get a drenching. I don't see any lightning in that neck of the woods at all. Now this is WA2AXZ and the nightly 1721 group. And we're just going to look and see if anyone else wants to come in and join us. Come on aboard. Oh, forgive me for not in a hurry. I'm just looking at the S meter. I've got a 3 noise level. I remember years ago in Brooklyn, I would kill for a 10 noise level. Go ahead.
Yeah, very good. Well, I'm hearing you now on the Port Huron site, and so we're going to go with that. It's that's just the way it usually is. I can't hear you until about 8:30, and then I hear you fine. Yeah, so you built right back up. You built up back up from a very low signal to a pretty good one. And yeah, I would think Marlin might be all right. I don't know. Of course, he's right in the middle of that mess there. Who else? And everybody else on the East Coast is probably, their ears are being pummeled with the noise. WA2AXE, WB2MLY.
All right. Well, I'm looking at Pennsylvania now. Let's see what we got. And there's only 2 lightning strikes. Where is it? That's down south. Connellsville, pretty much where Ray is. KB3HP2E is down there in Altoona. So nothing up by Marlin. So Marlin just gets the rain. So I'm just sitting here, and I got the little TV on in the background. And you got a guy in Milwaukee, and he's just south of the airport. And the guy played a joke with people. He wrote on his roof, he's got a very big roof with white paint, "Welcome to Cleveland." And people looking down from the airplane, where the hell are we going? Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, we had a good day with the Yankees. That's what I did all afternoon. Watched the Yankees versus the Phillies, and I do have some soft spot in my heart for the Phillies, being a Philadelphia guy myself. And they got a pretty good team, and the pitcher actually pitched pretty well today. But Garrett Cole was very good. Pitched 6 innings of shutout baseball, and so that's the problem, is they only have 2 real good starters, and that's Cole and Nestor Cortez. And Cole has won 2 games already. Cortez has won 1, I believe. So it's but they got a lot of injured pitchers in their pitching staff. Just seems as though guys get hurt so much more easily these days. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's in the water. Although New York City has very good water. And so they already canceled the game in Baltimore tomorrow. They postponed it till Friday. I guess they were going to play tomorrow and then have a day off Friday or something. Anyway, they're having all these 3-game series, and so they're going to postpone the first game of the series to Friday, which makes sense. And then they'll play the other 2 games, Saturday and Sunday. So tomorrow they got a day game, 3 o'clock. Not tomorrow, Friday. Well, maybe I don't know. Anyways, they don't play tomorrow. They play Friday. And so anyway, we'll toss it back to you there, Lobby. WA2AXE, WB2MLY.
Well, I tell you, I'm just looking at that line of clouds, and if they cancel it, then I know it's going to rain, because right now in Ohio, and that's directly west of Maryland area there, it's coming down. It's a thick, long, wide piece of cloud cover. So we'll just have to see what happens from there. Well, again, we're getting into the summer doldrums over here. We just have to put up with the noise and operate around it. again, that's why these SDR sites are so good. You know, you can pick one out north or just far enough away to be away from the noise. And we can hear everybody. So back over to you. This is 1721 with WA2AXZ.
Yeah, okay, Libby. Well, right now we're the Lone Ranger in Tonto. And I'm looking for some wise words from you, Tonto. Go ahead.
Kimosabi. Being our age, we remember Roy Rogers and all the other great Gene Autry and the gang over there. Nowadays, the kids, I don't think there's actually a Western at all on any of the TV stations. There's nothing modern being made. I think the last thing was maybe in the 70s, and that was about it. Again, they're the ones worse for wear. They haven't the slightest idea of what's going on. Same thing with Miss Calabash. You start talking that, and they look at you like you have two heads. Go ahead.
Yeah. And well, Jimmy Durante was he was always very popular and funny. I mean, but I don't, you know, right now everything that they do is kind of designed to preach a certain message, you know, and they don't want to preach the message that the good guys always win anymore like they used to, the white hats. And so I guess there's nothing modern that I've seen that I would pay money to go and see, except the Star Wars stuff and the Star Trek stuff. And that you know, the science fiction productions, I do enjoy them, and especially Star Wars, and I've seen them all. So, but you can see them, I guess, on Netflix. I don't subscribe to that, but you can see them other places too, I guess. Or you could, you know, you can rent them with for very little money too. And if they made a Western today, you know, with some of the more modern actors and actresses, it would be popular, you know, if they made it in the classic Western genre, and it would sell. The stuff that they're making now isn't selling. Not much, really. That's why a lot of people are watching all this, you know, the over-the-air television like you do, and there's a lot more on there to look at than there is on the evening stuff that they've got nowadays. Anyway, back to you. WA2AXE, WB2ML1.
And this is WA2AXE. Right now I got the American Pickers on the TV here. They're salvaging an old fireplace and a what do you call it, a mantle. And the interesting thing about it is it's well over 100 years old. And what they decided to do is, when they built these things, you know, they had to mold it out of certain plaster, and to hold the plaster together, they used horses' tails. And they're showing the way the plaster was put onto a horse's tail and set up there to hold the designs in place. And, you know, there's a will, there's a way. I remember doing some plaster work in some of my old houses there and some of the electrical work I did. it was fun to go through the plaster and find straw. And everything was mixed with straw back then, too, Gad.
Yeah, well, they didn't have the more modern building materials, and yeah, I can understand that. And well, we had our living room here plastered for us. It was really, it was originally plastered, and then some people had tried to fix it, and finally we bit the bullet, and we had this guy come in from Plattsburgh, and he was just a real artist. And he made it look really good. And it still looks really good. This guy, his name is Stuart Patnode. Well, you know, one time, the reason we got a hold of him was we had some rugs put in upstairs in one of the bedrooms, and the guy that did it was kicking it in, what they called kicking it in, and he really was made a hash of it, and it knocked one of the heating pipes apart, and then there was this. Then it ended up being a big brown stain on the on the dining room ceiling, and so they, you know, they came in and they said, well, first of all, they didn't want to admit that they did it, but you know, it's obvious they did it. So they brought this Stuart Patnode in, and what he did was he cut that drywall. There was that drywall on the ceiling, and he made another piece there, and then he put it in with the drywall cement, and then repainted that ceiling. And unless you knew where that was, I mean, you never would see it. It was a perfect job. And it's in an older house. And so we remembered this guy when we wanted to have our living room plastered, and he came in and did a wonderful job. And he repainted the ceiling here too, I believe. So anyway, that was one for the good guys. WA2AXE, WB2MLY.
Just letting a little time go by here. Again, you got so many strange construction techniques out there, and you have to remember when they were building the houses with the 2x4s and the 2x6s. They were really 2x4s and 2x6s. And I found this out when I closed off a window in the house in Brooklyn. And you actually had to take the 2x4 you bought and add a shim just to make it the appropriate angle there, so you can put the sheetrock and seal everything over it. That they don't make anything anymore. Everything has been compromised, and no, that's the way life is nowadays. One hell of a big compromise. Right now, the American pickers are trying to buy a 1850s steamboat steering wheel, and the thing has got to be 10 feet across, and it's just one of these monsters. It makes that little guy Frank look like a miniature in between it there. What do they do? Yeah, they bought it for. Let me see what they bought it for. $2,900. That's pretty good. Well, hopefully they have a little fun with it. So back over to you. This is 1721 with WA2AXE. Hope you get a few check-ins. Come on in.
How about a check-in from Virginia, the golden voice of grace and hockey?
Okay.
Go ahead, oh golden voice.
And who else? And we got an LMC. So we're going to go back up to Virginia and see what's going on in Galax.
WA2AXZ, KB1HPV. I'll tell you, we got a full moon coming up, but there's a few clouds in front of it. Like we had a few this afternoon. The morning was quite nice, but actually warm enough to be just a little muggy today. We got all the windows and screens open, and it's quite pleasant. We hit 80 today, no problem whatsoever. But tomorrow we're going to get a little bit of rain. And hey, I didn't go for a walk. My feet were hurting, my legs, so I said, the heck with it. I did some stuff around the house here, and I did make some homemade spaghetti sauce and meatballs, and actually homemade pasta to go with it tonight for dinner. So the wife and I quite enjoyed that, and the best part is we got enough left for tomorrow night also. So not a whole lot else to report. The only funny thing that really happened in the last couple of days, I was going to check in last night, but I turned the radio on, and it's like, oh my goodness, and I turned it off again. But yesterday when I was getting the trash ready, I happened to look up, and I was being watched from about 30 foot away by a couple of deer. They'd come out of the woods. They were standing right in the driveway about 30 foot from me, watching me. So that was kind of cute. And they weren't the least bit frightened of me. They just finally wandered off by themselves. So, not a whole lot else going on here. We'll turn it back to you, Lobie, see what else is going on in the world. WA2AXZ from KB1HPV.
Well, the world is still spinning. We don't know how, and we don't know why. So we'll have to see what happens here with the great world that we have. Yeah, had a good day over here, and it was actually 71 today. Now it took a nosedive to 39, so old man is putting us back in our place. LMC.
This is KD8 LMC, Dan here. And, the weather's been pretty changing there. And we had warning all day. Now it's changed into unsettled weather and could be severe gusting, which we already through. It looks pretty calm out there now. I did see some lightning on the lightning map through Pennsylvania a little bit, but nothing our way, and it's pretty clear out there. And want to say, Chad, TV, Ray, and L1, as well as yourself. WA2AXZ, KD8 LMC.
All right, you're sounding good. My daughter and son-in-law just called me up, and they says, hey, come on out in the front of the house. You got to see this full moon that's out there. I feel like I should go take a look. Well, we'll see what happens. Hey, let's go back up to MLY. MLY, after you're done, give it to HPV. Let me go bathe the moon.
All right, Lobie, very good, and that's kind of a good request there. At least you can see the moon. That's a good thing to be able to see. And Chad and Dan, copying you both pretty good. Chad, your signal is almost 99% of the time it's good. Not quite as loud as Marlin's, but you make up for it with the golden voice. And so we had rain here all day, and so we watched the Yankees. I didn't watch the Yankees. I listened to the Yankee game. Followed it on my phone, on the app on my phone, and so the Yankees beat the Phillies 4-2, and that was a pretty good win for them. And nothing else much going on. So I'll toss it over to you, Chad, and and KB1 HPV, WB2 MLY. Go ahead, Chad.
All righty, thank you so much. Yeah, we're sitting here putting some new Energizer batteries into my game camera. I had some Duracells in it, and I couldn't get it to do anything. It had been outside for a while. And the chip on it, the memory card was filled up, so we got another memory card. I'm quite certain there's some newer pictures of the bear on the old one. The wife said she took it to Walmart and checked them all, but she didn't see any. I don't think she went back far enough. There was some on it when I first put it out, and there was some just before the card got full. I was able to read it in the digital camera, and because I remember exclaiming, "He's back!" because it was a pretty good picture of him. I was going to take and have them printed at Walmart and enlarge it to an 8x12, 8x10, or 8x12, or 12x15, or whatever the biggest they could do a good quality of. I wanted to frame it and hang it in the living room. I've never lived in a place where we had bears that wandered through the yard on occasion. So in my endeavor here to get the game camera back on, if the new batteries don't do anything and it's still dead, well, then the game camera itself has failed. Of course, it's made in China by somebody, I don't know who. I think it's a Casco, actually, which used to be a really good brand name, but not so much anymore, unfortunately. And let's see, what else? Well, we got the birthday cake from the weekend is almost gone. There's a little cheesecake left. But the last thing I need is more cake and cheesecake to eat. So, boy, I'll tell you, it's hard to resist when it's sitting there. Back to you, WB2MLY, KB1 HPV.
KXZ here. And I'm going to send you guys a picture that is going to be wonderful about the moonrise. So when you look at your emails, you'll get a chance to see it. All right, let's go to LMC.
All right, let's slowly. I'll be looking for that email on the Moonrise. And I called up the email program. This is KD LMC for station ID with the 1721 net, and didn't do a whole heck of a lot today, but I did have a little excitement with I have this brand new, inexpensive Windows 11 netbook, Asus, and it decided to work. It wouldn't get on the net. It wouldn't call up the edge, and there was something definitely wrong there, and essentially it wouldn't work. So before I started looking up the warranty information, I started looking around recovering it, and there was a reset function in there, and he says, "Do you want to reset Windows?" and gave some warnings. Oh yeah, I have had it, because I couldn't use it like it was, and went smooth, and did a few things with it, a few check-ins and things like that, straightened everything up, and now it runs like a new machine again. So we have a lot of these machines, they put in a hidden partition on the hard drive that the normal operating system can't see, and they put that partition to the reset function, the recover function, and I told it to recover and keep all my programs, and it did. And so I'm really glad they have that function in them, so you don't have to take it back to the people you from and get it fixed, which I don't know if I could bring myself to do that. Back to you, Logan. WA2AXE, KD8LC.
And this is way WA2AXE here in Nineland as we continue the 1721. And again, guys, you'll see the picture. It's right over my house. I'm happy you guys gave me the heads up because it's remarkable to see the size of this thing. Oh, well, you got the 1721 with WA2AXE. Go back with WB2MLY.
Okay, Lovey. Well, we'll look forward to seeing the moon, I guess. That's some in the mill where I used to work. That's what we called when somebody was too close to an arc. And you'll see the moon when you're too close to a big high voltage arc. And if you don't get hurt, your eyes will recover usually in maybe 6-8 hours. But it can be more catastrophic than that. Well, Chad, if you would get some pictures of some bear, you could send them to Lovey. He could put them out on the video and in the mail, and we could enjoy your Virginia bears along with you. And I have never seen a bear here. Right here, I've seen one about 5 miles from here, but we don't see them too often. My wife years ago was out and about riding her little horse, and there was a bear around. That horse didn't like it, and so fortunately they didn't have an encounter, but they did have an acknowledgement of each other, which can be pretty scary. But usually the bears, they don't want to bother you. They're usually don't want to see you as much as you don't want to see them. So anyway, back to you, Lovey. WA2AXE, WB2MLY.
All right, this is 1721 with WA2AXE as we continue. A good night. Thank God all these storms went south and east, so north all was down and we're hanging out here. Let's go back up to K31, HP and a V.
All righty. Well, I'll tell you, I've seen them about 5 times since I've lived here. A couple of times he went across the road about 50 foot in front of me, and of course I say he, it could have been a she, whatever. I didn't stop to ask him, and they didn't volunteer any information. But I've also had people stop me in front of my house here when I was headed out for a walk and tell me the bear just crossed the road a quarter of a mile away, so I might want to be on alert that he's in the neighborhood. My neighbor has pictures of him with his cell phone in his hayfield. So there actually have been families of them that have walked through people's yards here. The mama, a couple of babies, and the daddy bear. So that's when you really be careful, when they got young with them. The time he came out of my neighbor's driveway when I was walking one night, he might have been 30 foot from me. And he didn't look at me at all. He just walked right across the road. Went back into the woods, and that was the end of him. In 10 seconds, I couldn't see him at all. He was so well hidden in the underbrush and so on. And the other thing, too, is I haven't seen one of these yet, but I've heard them, is we have bobcats in the woods, too, here. My neighbor's nephew has a picture of 2 of them on top of the hill across the road from us. So it's a hill, small mountain, whatever you want to call it. It changes in elevation about 300 foot from the road up to the top of it. And I heard him growling one night when I was out walking, and I told the wife it sounded like a house cat on steroids. And when I was talking to my neighbor's nephew, he was visiting his aunt, which is my neighbor, he says, oh yeah, he says the place he's going to build a cabin up back, he's got a picture of a couple of them. So it's wonderful to live out in the country. I personally wouldn't trade it for the world, and we certainly do enjoy it. That's the best part. Back in that, this is KB1 HPV.
All right, Chad, the WA2AXZ. Now, you don't want to go messing around with those things because you don't know the size of it, so watch out. You never know they can come along. This is WA2AXZ here, and now we're going to go back up to N8LMC.
That's a really bright full moon for sure. Looks like the sun, although you can't take pictures of the sun as far as I know with these cameras. And the bear by Chad reminds me of a funny video I seen where a guy was coming around the corner of his house and a bear was coming around the same corner. They seen each other and they both ran back the other way. That was the funniest video I had seen in a long time. So my wife found that one. And I'm wondering, Ray, if you got any bicycle time in today. I haven't exercised in a while, and I feel it. I got to get my walks in again. And Chad, the country, yeah, I had 6 years where I lived in the country, but many of those years I had to work overtime at the company. I got to experience it a little bit, but we were far away from everything. We had to drive several miles to get groceries and all kinds of stuff, and it was fun. It was fun, but now I'm close to everything. I must be by about 4 or 5 Home Depots and 2 or 3 Lowe's, all within a 10-mile radius. So we got everything here. Back to Chico Zero, A2AXZ, KB8LMC.
All right, just dragging my feet to see if anyone else wants to join us today. We're at the 9 o'clock hour, so let me do one teeny tiny little thing. Let me put out a call to KB1 DPD. Bob, are you on the frequency? Come on in. Not hearing anything. MLY.
Yeah, I'm sure Bob's inundated with noise over there, and just probably like PKS Bill, he's not worth battling it. It's probably pretty bad over there. Dan, no, I did not get any bike riding in. It rained all afternoon here, and so I was thinking about it, but the forecast didn't look good. The day didn't look good, and so I decided not to, and I'm glad I did, because it did start raining pretty hard later on. So we'll try to get out tomorrow if the weather will support the activity. And there's no sense going out and not and getting drenched and possibly shorting out your bike. And when you have an electric bike, you don't want to be out in heavy rain. But and I try not to do that. So, yeah, well, the wildlife here, once in a great while we'll see deer here, but not too often. We see turkeys. There again, we have a big, busy road right in front of our house, so the turkeys I see on my bike ride all the time. They're back in, back in the woods, and they come out on the roads, especially if there's salt on the road. They love to go out there and get some salt. And, of course, not going to be any salt on the road now till next winter, I guess. Anyway, back to you, Lobby. WA2AXE, WB2MLY.
And this is WA2AXE here in Nineland. And we're just sitting here watching some things going on TV. The pictures are there. There's a busy... I'm wondering what the hell that thing is. Oh, whatever it is, they're looking for a piece for a 1935 Warbird, and they're looking for the supercharger. So I wonder where they're going to find that. They'll probably have to do some digging in their picking. Hey, let's go back up to HPV.
WA2AXE from KB1 HPV. Well, gentlemen, I am happy to report success. The game camera has new batteries. It is programmed, has a new SDS card in it, and tomorrow we'll be hanging it on the tree. But I don't really think it was the batteries, because after I put the new ones in, it didn't want to do anything. So I took the switch and I moved it from the on to the off position about 60 times, because I think there's a little oxidation built up somewhere in it. And sure enough, it started to work. So I can't get the thing apart. It's all sealed, except the battery compartment and the chip. It's got some screws in it buried somewhere. I might get it apart. I could probably hit it with some deox spray or something to clean the contacts up, but as long as I got it working, I'm not going to, how shall we say, go overboard with the subject. But, hey, I'll put it back up on the tree where I had it before. I got it right at the entrance to the deer highway where they go up in the woods here. I think the bear uses it too. I call it the wildlife highway. But it's a good place. I've tried it all over the property. And I think my neighbor left a couple of his up in the woods. I thought he was going to take them, but I got to go snooping around someday and looking for them. But just about everybody has game cameras in this area in their yard. See all kinds of fun things. Let's see, I've had deer, bear, fox, raccoon, woodchucks, rabbits, you name it. We've kind of had it here. And there is one animal I haven't identified yet. It got killed down the road. I've looked at its pelt 2 or 3 times, and I got to Google it and actually see if I can figure out what it is. It's about half the length of my arm, and it's got a tiny little face, and it's heavy, thick fur. So I got an idea what it looks like. It hadn't been squished too bad. So we're going to try to find out what that is, too. That'd be interesting. Back to that from KB1 HPV.
All right, well, you definitely have to just take a look at it and see what it is. Maybe you can send it to a local zoo. It could be anything from a badger to God knows what. So good luck finding out the who's, what's, and the where's. All right, this is WA2AXE here, and next we're going to go back up to LMC.
poison frogs to make poison darts. And these birds have poison feathers. How about that? Back to you, Obi, WA2AXZ, KD8LMC.
Well, I tell you, I can understand that because they keep saying the birds are the next generation from the lizards and dinosaurs. And I know a lot of lizards, hell, even some frogs with poisonous skin. So it's interesting to see why they developed the poison feathers, because what kind of predator is going to eat the birds? And that's something that they have to answer down there. So it's rather interesting. Well, I don't eat bird feathers, but sometimes I chew on my pillow. We'll see what happens. Hey, let's go back up to MLY.
Yeah, okay, well, very good. Well, that's a good thing to chew on, your pillowcase. And so, yeah, I didn't see anything about that, Dan. You're watching different stuff than I am. You're probably watching the National Geographic Channel or some kind of PBS thing. And there's a lot of good stuff on there that's interesting, and we watch a lot of that kind of nature videos ourselves. And but there's some stuff on the internet that's actually just false. There's this one channel that somehow popped up on my phone, and it's putting out a lot of fear porn there about Yellowstone, the Yellowstone volcano. Well, there is a lot of activity out there, and could be threatening or could be serious, but it's been like that for a long time. And there's this lady that has a weather channel, Mary Greeley, and she lives out in that area. She lives in Wyoming somewhere, I think. And she is always talking about Yellowstone and warning about it, and if it ever does explode, you're going to know it, because that's not going to be pretty. It's going to be very, very ugly. But last time it had an eruption was quite a while ago. So whenever I get something like that, a different source on Yellowstone, I always go back to her, and she's not in any kind of alarm mode at all. So that means that these people are just trying to give you some clickbait there, and not based on facts. So back to you, Lovey. WA2AXZ, WB2MLY.
Well, if it ever comes to pass that Yellowstone goes boom, you follow the flight instructions. You take your shoes off, put your head between your knees, and kiss your behind goodbye, because that's what they're talking about. If it ever happens, it'll be a big event. It'll clean out the world, and it'll be bigger than the dinosaurs. So I wonder what's going to come after us. Maybe more dinosaurs. WA2AXZ, HPV.
WA2AXZ from KB1HPV. Well, I'll tell you, if you've ever seen the movie Threads, the movie is called Threads. It's a movie. It's about World War III and the nuclear exchange between Russia and all of the other nations on the planet. And if you ever see that, you'll never worry about the Yellowstone volcano again. It's a movie that starts out dark and grim, and that's the best part of it. It just goes even darker and grimmer from the very beginning. the day after, and that's kind of like a Disney movie compared to this one. But it's called Threads. If you're interested in seeing it, it is on YouTube. And boy, I'll tell you, it'll scare the bloody bejesus out of you. So, volcanoes, tornadoes, they ain't much to worry about. But if something like this ever goes down, well, I'll tell you, you need a really big hole to hide in and enough supplies to take you for the rest of your life, or you're going to hope you're right at ground zero and it's all over in a millisecond. So, boy, I'll tell you. But hey, that's about it. I haven't got a whole lot more to contribute for that. Back to net. This is KB1HPV.
Well, I tell you, I'm having myself a nice productive time here. I'm getting the NCS QSL cards for the Tasmanian Devil Special for May 1st. I got the envelopes. Doing the last one for K2YN, John. And then I have to sit in front of the computer and hammer in the cards. So we're going to be busy on that. And what do they say in Revelations? The living will then envy the dead. And you say no more about that. Hey, KD8 LMC, LMC.
Yeah, this is KD8 LMC, Dan here. And, yeah, Ray, you mentioned peer porn. And, there is so much of it. The news I get, Ray, is from news threads, like you put your mouse over something on your camera, pop some articles they think you might be interested in. And a lot of time I am. And I notice, Lobi, that they're using AI for doing all sorts of nifty things on computers, like helping you write letters and spell as you're writing this, spell grammar, and also customizing your news channels. And Ray, all the time, I've heard all the time that they'll say celebrities have passed away. And they haven't. There's been many celebrities. Yeah, I'm still alive. So there is a lot of false news in it. And I wish I could quote the news that I got. The source that I got, the bird with the poison feather at the beginning. But I'm very sloppy in that regard. Unless I write it down and read the news, I should write down the source if I want to repeat it, I suppose. But I don't care. And I'll just say what I read, and then if it's false, well, it goes in the book anyway. And let's see. And everybody, I noticed, Obi, everybody's battling for our attention. It's like attention is money to these people. If they could get even a fragment of your attention, they're happy because they're probably running some eyeballs to drill it into your subconscious somehow for you to suddenly have an urge to buy those different kind of cupcakes or something at the store. Back she goes to you, Lobi. WA2AXE, KD8LMC.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It's so competitive on all these advertisings. They're going to try to get your soul. And some have actually succeeded. All right, gang, let me just pause for a second again and just see if Bob is going to be out there. I've got the Ottawa site on. I've got the, let me get the other site on here. I've got the Vermont site on. Let me see if KB1DPD is out there. He's there. Bob. Sounding good. KB1 DPD. Happy you're able to get on board tonight. Past couple of nights have been murder with 20, 30 over crashes with all the storms. So we got a reprieve tonight. Hey, let's go to the tippy top of the list with WB2MLY.
Okay, very good, Loby, and well, good to hear Bob in there. And I'm not where I can hear the SDR right now, but I'm over where I can see the TV screen for the Mets game. The Mets are beating up, well, they're not beating up, they're ahead of the Milwaukee Brewers in the bottom of the sixth. So maybe if you open your window, Loby, you won't even need any TV. You're that close to Milwaukee. And that's where they're playing. So we'll see. The Mets haven't had a great opening series of games. I don't know what their record is right now, but Milwaukee just got a hit, and so now it's men on first and second, and yeah, Dan, I guess you'll see AI in a lot of stuff, and the globalists, they want AI to run everything, and but I don't think that's a good idea. Nothing they want for the public is ever a good idea. It's all about control, and that's what they want, total control of everybody. And hopefully people won't be dumb enough to cede their sovereignty to people who don't care about them, because they don't. They don't care about us. They've proven that in the last couple of years. So anyway, back to you, Loby, WA2AXE, WB2MLY.
All right, WB2MLY, and I'm actually starting to hear a little lightning in the background. I'm going to have to take a look where it's coming from. Let's go to KB1 HPV.
All righty there, Mr. Loby. Hey, I'm going to put in a shameless plug for the 7272 Rag Chew. Heard 7 days a week on 7272. And of course I'm saying something because I'm the net control station that kicks it off tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. And I'd like to invite anyone that is listening that has 40-meter capability and how shall we say, a valid license to go with it, to come down and say hello. I really appreciate that, and hey, it's a good little group. I certainly enjoy it. So that, guys, I'm going to say 7-3 to all. Everybody have a good evening. If it's lightning and thundering, don't play golf. Golf clubs are made out of aluminum. They probably make a real good lightning. I suggested that to one of my bosses one time, that it would be really interesting for him to go play golf in a thunderstorm. He kind of took a hint of sarcasm and, understood what I was trying to tell him. I was trying to be subtle about it. But anyhow, everybody have a good one. 7-3 from KB1 HPV, Grayson County, Virginia.
Hey, Chad, have yourself a great night, and we'll definitely catch you down the road. And that static I'm hearing, believe it or not, is coming from Arkansas. There's nothing near me at all, but they're running at about 450 lightning strikes a minute from Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and I'm actually hearing the crashes up here. Must be a powerful storm down there. All right, Chad, we'll catch you tomorrow on the 72 Chew, 9 o'clock. Next on our hit parade, we'll go to LMC.
All right, Loby, this is KD1C Dan here, and I want to wave a big good night there to Chad. And I looked up Threads there, and there it is on YouTube. So ahead and see. Maybe I'll look at the first few minutes of it, see how it starts off sometime, maybe tomorrow or tonight. And I was noticing, on the Star Trek The Next Generation show, which I got playing in the background, there's a lot of nice artwork in that show. The way they make the Romulan cups and dinnerware and things like that. A lot went into that for the artwork, I think. And DPD, sounds like you might need some stronger tuning capacitors. I even seen a tuner somebody had. It was a homebrew tuner, and they used a vacuum variable capacitor for their tuner instead of one of those what do they call them, red cutter capacitors, where they have the fins wide apart. So might think about that. And I'm going to make this my last one, Logie, but it just sure has been delightful listening to the few folks here that are on the net and keep it going. And fine business on Chad putting the plug in for the 72 shoe. Good deal. So thanks for running it, Logie, and sending those pictures out for the full moon there. WA2AXC, KD8LMC, 730.
Now, listen, have yourself a fantastic evening. Really appreciate you being out there. And definitely, we'll be back again tomorrow. I'll probably try to be on with Chad on the so come on in and grab a cup of coffee. Hey, with that, we'll go to DPD, Bob. WAB on DPD, WA2AXZ. And we were just talking about this last night because, all the old radios from now into the past, everything had vacuum tubes, and the amplifiers ran anything between 18 to 2,500 volts. And now with these solid-state amplifiers that they have, you wonder there's no high voltage anymore. High voltage is gone. So you wonder how these tuners really do with the regular low voltage high current. Tune in, we'll have to see. MLY, MLY.
Well, yeah, that's. I'm sure PalStar has something that'll work, but I never even thought of that. But I know the solid state amplifiers are a whole lot more sensitive to. They can't run. They can't run an SDR or an antenna with an SWR. Anything pretty much higher than 2 to 1, and so your tuning is limited, and you have to. It's probably going to be set up for one frequency or one group of frequencies. Anyway, back to you, LBW. I heard Bob very well on the mountaintop. WB2 MLY.
All right. Well, again, you look at all the MFJ machines, and they have 50 and 75 volt power supplies, but at 50 to 75 volt at up to 75 amps. So you can imagine the current that's flowing into these beasties. Oh, well, we'll have to see what happens. Again, that's another unit that I'll have to look at someday. I know I'm not going to look at it because I'm happy with what I have so far. Hey, we're going to go back up to LMC. I think, well, LMC just signed, didn't he? Let me just check him anyhow. LMC?
He gone.
Bob and Ray. Sounds like a TV show, Bob and Ray. Let's go to DPD. right, Bob. You probably heard a lot of noise over there. That was me. Someone tried to move in on 1870, and they started CQing, perfectly normal. You know, why listen when we can just talk? It is WA2AXZ. WA2AXZ. We'll go to MLY, and we'll see how long you guys want to hang out.
Well, I'm kind of looking for a 73 round there eventually, Lobie. And I did hear Bob, and I did hear that guy that was trying to move in, too. So, anyway, whenever you're ready, I'm ready for a 73 round. And maybe Bob can nail the coffin. WB2, ML1.
Well, Bob can nail the coffin, but I'll just put something out there while we're here.
And now, folks, that's it for Broadway. Good night to all of you. And good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
KB1 DPD. Bob, have yourself a great night there, and thanks for putting up with the noise that we have. Hey, let's go back up to MLY. Come on aboard.
Okay, Lobie. And so we'll say 73s for the evening, and we'll gather tomorrow at the appropriate time and frequency. And Lord willing, and the creeks don't rise. And good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are. Cha-cha-cha.
All right, to everybody out there, have a blessed evening on to Easter Sunday, and I'll catch everybody tomorrow, hopefully at 9 o'clock with KB1 HPV, and then we'll continue at nighttime with 1721. I'm done. Stick a fork in me. Time for me to QS wide to the Kenmore. I'm done.
Good night, Lobie, wherever you are.